Hey there, good Saturday morning or afternoon now, I guess. Um, I just remembered something that kind of irritates me that people say about polyamory all the time. When I talk about polyamory to people, um, a lot of times I'll hear someone say, "Oh, well, you can't go very deep in polyamorous relationships. I mean, if you're not focused on one person the whole time, like you just can't do that deep of a dive." And I guess I'd want to bust this myth because to me, I don't do shallow anything. I don't do shallow jobs. I don't do shallow friendships, family relationships. I don't do shallow anything. Like, I'm a very, very deep person. So, like, if we're hanging out for any length of time, we're both going to dive pretty deep into some stuff and work on our inner self. So, I feel like when people say that, they're talking about, first of all, they're talking about unconscious polyamory. And I'm talking about conscious polyamory. That's the kind of polyamory I'm interested in, and it's the type that I'm doing. And I would say that when I was monogamous, I was doing kind of some conscious monogamy and some unconscious monogamy. But I basically went from here over to here. Like when I became conscious in my relationships, I became polyamorous. So these folks down here who are just like, oh, I just want to have sex with everybody. It's really just about having sex. It's not about emotional attachment. I don't want to do a deep dive with you. Like I do that. I save that for my main partner. That's cool, but that's just not what I'm doing. And that's not what you have to do. Like polyamory doesn't inherently mean you're not doing a deep dive with each and every person you're relating with. I think when you're doing conscious relating in general or intentional relating, you're basically going to deal with whatever comes up. Stuff is going to come up, it inevitably comes up. And what's actually really nice about polyamory, too, that helps you be more conscious is you have multiple mirrors. So, like, if you have three lovers and you're running into the same problem in all three of those relationships, then you're the common denominator, right? And like you really have to face that and really have to look at yourself. Whereas in monogamy, it's easier to hide. I find it's easier to hide that something's amiss, that something is um, going wrong, because you can always project it onto the other person, and they never know if you're really right. You never know if you're really right. Like, but in polyamory, if the same problem's coming up in all the scenarios, or even if one of your lovers' other lovers, your metamor, if one of them is having an issue with you or you're having an issue with them, it's the larger poly network. Like if anyone in the network you're having like a problem with and you're seeing your issue reflected from any of those people, then like you really have to look at that. You have to slow down and ask people like, well, what are you seeing, and what do you think I'm doing on my ends? Like it's an opportunity to actually do some very deep personal development work. But I think when people say polyamory is for people who can't commit or people who don't really want to look at themselves deeply or they don't want to have a deep relationship, I think where that myth comes from is it's actually not a myth when you're talking about unconscious relating. There's a lot of people doing a lot of codependent slash toxic relating slash unconscious unintentional relating. They just kind of date one of their parents, like repeat those patterns and don't really know that they're doing it. And so they do just kind of wander into a relationship and then they start having issues and they don't know why, and they don't really have the tools to really look at those internal programs that created that toxic relationship. So those people who want to avoid will avoid. They will avoid. And one of the ways that they will avoid is by leaving relationships before they get to those problems, or when they see those problems coming, or when they crop up, they will leave those relationships quickly. Another way to do it is, sure, to be polyamorous, to date more than one person at a time, never really see any of the people often enough that those issues come up, just kind of stay in the perpetual honeymoon phase. Yeah, and so they can use that to sort of, run away from their problems. And if one person, they have to break up with one person because it's getting too deep, then they always have another person to sleep with or, go run and cuddle with them and feel better, which I'm not against feeling better, but it can be a diversion. It can be an avoidance. So we want to be kind of careful that we're not avoiding our stuff in relationship. And that goes for monogamy, it goes for polyamory, it goes for work, it goes for our families. Like anywhere there's work to do, like go ahead and dive right in there. Like if you have someone to hold your hand through it, that's even better. But yeah, do the work basically. All right, that's my message for today. Thank you so much. This is Leah Fox. Have a good one.